Randy Sullivan here, Florida Baseball Armory. Just wanted to take a second to share with you a simple but effective constraints-led approach, just to kind of give you an example of how we do things around here. This is a mid to upper 80s lefty college sophomore who was experiencing anterior shoulder pain leading into his season. And he came in for an evaluation, and I just want to show you what we saw here. You can see that the pelvis kind of loses its tilt and gets kind of flat pretty quickly, which means that he's no longer going to be able to hold his hinge and keep his pelvis tilted and hold the rearward force of the back leg as going towards second base. But then the big thing that I saw here was the lead leg here kind of slides in, kind of goes in, and we're just going to watch the pelvis here. What we should see right here is that when this hits the ground, it should stick, right, and not go this way or this way. And what we see is that it goes wobbling off to the side, and now the front of the pelvis never stops. And so he's like it's like a 5-year-old on a carousel ride, and he's trying to get the ball to his grandma out here. Sometimes they hang on too long and they throw it over here. Sometimes they let go too early and they hit the guy in the back if it's a left-hander here. But then the big problem is the only way to get the ball to grandma if your pelvis is spinning is to straighten your arm. And you can learn more about the dangers of a linear deceleration pattern in the blog that I wrote at floridabaseballarmory.com/decel. But because the pelvis is spinning, now the chest comes open, and then the biceps is raging eccentrically to resist long axis distraction, humeral head elevation, and terminal extension of the elbow. And you can see on the left that the biceps is so active. I wish he wasn't wearing the shirt, but you can see the biceps is so active that it actually supinates the forearm a little bit right there, which is a good indicator that we got a raging biceps that's causing some tendonitis. And the problem with that is that it attaches to the labrum, and the biceps can actually create a slap tear and to pull the labrum off. Okay, so the solution here was to improve the lead leg and to try to keep him from spinning his pelvis off. Okay, so we use a little constraint, put a little hurdle here, put a little pole here, and the purpose of a constraint is really just a constraint is just sensory information that opens the athlete up to affordances that allows him to explore movement solutions that might be more efficient than the one he is. And so we just try to constrain to allow him to afford him to find different solutions. Okay, so by putting the little hurdle here, now he can't slide into his landing with his lead leg. And so it encourages him to give a little internal rotation of his lead hip here. And what that's going to do is activate the little glutes, the glute med and glute min on this side, and also the tensor fascia lata. And it's going to allow him to hold his pelvic tilt a little longer. You don't tilt the pelvis by trying to tilt it. You tilt it by holding your hinge. And so it's going to keep the lead leg from being active and causing the front of his pelvis to flatten like it did over here. And now when it lands, it's going to be in a much better place to be able to stick and not rotate out this way. You can see here that the pelvis isn't quite opening. You can see the chest here, when he gets to landing, isn't opening as quickly, and the pelvis stops spinning. And now because he has to go around that little pole there, it just kind of discourages him or encourages him to find a solution where he rotates around his front hip better.